All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me get a one in the chat if you can hear me loud, crisp, and clear, and we will get this party started. Hit the like button on the way in, hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the content. I am your humble servant after all. And oh Lord, we were just talking about Candace Owens on the last stream, and I actually have to give her a little bit of props. She stood up to the tyrant known as Mr. Umar Johnson, real name Jermaine Shoemake, Mr. I'm a descendant of everybody, Mr. Descendant himself.
And so we paid respects earlier to the Honorable Frederick Douglass, my direct ancestor, and it's only fitting and it's only with respect that if we're gonna big up the masculine energy, we gotta big up the feminine energy. And we know that Queen Mother Harriet and Frederick Douglass were very, very good friends. Some even say may have been cousins, which means I'm related to Harriet Tubman. I ain't gonna even get into that right now.
Oh yeah, tethers are gonna tether, y'all. He related to everybody. Everybody. Boy, oh boy. This is a live call-in show. The StreamYard link is pinned if anybody wants to click the link and call in. But let's get into the content. Candace Owens successfully exposed Umar Johnson as the racist that I've always known him out to be. I mean, come on. And we can all, agree to disagree. Click the link, call in. Let me know what you guys think about this topic at hand. I know it's a polarizing one. Puffy says there are no black races. I say that statement is ignorant. So if there's no black racists, then there's also no black rapists, right? There just because of your complexion or your lineage, that means you can't that means somehow the ancestors prohibit you from engaging in certain behavior that makes no goddamn sense. And I already know the standard talking point, but no, being racist is having the means to back up the system. Blah, 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 blah. No, you can be racist and be poor. You can be racist and be powerless. I've known plenty of racist white folks or Asian folks or Indian folks who were poor as hell and barely had 2 cents to rub together. So yes, you can be racist and be black at the same time. We're gonna see a black racist on the screen in just a bit, but let's hear. Candace Owens was doing the black rounds, the Black and I Say So Now. She was teaming up with all quote unquote black media, and she went to the Breakfast Club and she said some interesting things. Let's see. Umar Johnson was brought up.
Something you said earlier, because I know a lot of people will hear you say, well, Candace, you're speaking a lot about, the black family, but then you married a white man.
Yeah.
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Dr. Umar?
I have heard of him. I have not listened to him, I'll be honest. Mm-hmm. What is his argument, actually, if you could just repurpose his argument
he feels
everything
that,
black.
No.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Every damn
No, he feels black men should be with black women because.
And again, if there's anybody that disagrees with me or Candace Owens, click the link and call in. Star Child, words matter. You say that black people can be prejudiced but not racist, but when you look up the dictionary definition of racist, it's a person who is prejudiced or antagonistic towards another person or group. So prejudice and racist go hand in hand. Come on now. We really going to play the semantics game? Let's play it.
What is his argument, actually, if you could just repurpose his argument?
He feels
everything
that,
black.
No.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Every damn
he feels black men should be with black women because when you're talking about it from an economic standpoint, you want to grow the wealth as a black family.
But that doesn't...
And if you marry somebody from another race, then, your wealth will be with that person, and he doesn't like that.
Okay. I would love to talk to him more about that because, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of black people who will make an argument that, the system is racist and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love. And
let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. If a white person went around saying white people shouldn't marry black people, and if you're white and you marry a black person, then we're disowning you. You're a sellout. You're a race traitor. God damn it. There are white people who speak like that. Guess what we label them? Racist, neo-Nazi supremacists. Racist, neo-Nazi supremacists. race identity extremists. So how does a black man say the same thing and he's not a black identity extremist? Somehow Umar Johnson isn't a racist? Somehow Umar Johnson isn't a supremacist? Guys, both things can't be true. How come we would all feel very uncomfortable? I don't care if you're into interracial dating or not. We would just naturally feel very uncomfortable hearing a white person or a person of any ethnicity saying, don't date black people. Don't date black people. If you date black people, it's bad. Dating black people is bad, 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 bad. We'd be like, damn, what's wrong with us? All right. That's racist. That's fucked up. That's prejudice. That's discrimination. So why does Umar Johnson say it and he gets a pass? I mean, he doesn't even get a side eye. I mean, come on. Because he's participating in sensationalism, because he's an agent provocateur giving you a little bit of what you want. He's feeding, he's pandering to his base, just like Candace used to pander to hers, and now she's trying to pander to us. But ladies and gentlemen, if a white man said some of the things that Umar Johnson said, we'd be like, God damn it, this is one racist ass motherfucker. So why does Umar Johnson get a pass?
This paradox of black people who will make an argument that, the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying. I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. It's just very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go, 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 go all the time. It's difficult for me to find. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me. The challenge that I needed, whether you want to say like an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book. People.
Yeah, donations forever. FDMG never makes a very valid point. Forget his separatist thoughts. Forget his what is it? He's anti-integration. So come on. So he's pro-segregation. Forget his pro-segregation talk. I mean, he straight up calls white folks Neanderthals, ice people, crackers. I mean, if a white person called us a monkey on social media, we'd say something about it. So again, I'm not trying to take up for any other community. I just think it's so interesting how we allow certain people within our quote unquote community to preach such xenophobic rhetoric that really is not progressing us, but if anything, it's sending us backwards. I mean, we literally had a congressional ruling, wasn't it, Loving versus Virginia, where a black woman and a white man fought for the right to have the family that they wanted to have. I mean, this is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. Let's get on into it.
And he doesn't like that.
Okay, I would love to talk to him more about that because I mean, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of black people who will make an argument that, the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying. I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. It's just very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go, 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 go all the time. It's difficult for me to find. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me. The challenge that I needed, whether you want to say like an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book.
Oh Lord, the Tether Coon is quoting Thomas Sowell now. And again, guys, I don't believe that she's really with a white man just because they had the same IQ and similar interests. Again, she has Caribbean heritage. Those people literally rub bleach on their skin to try to appear whiter. These people have a sick obsession with white people. So when you learn she's not a foundational Black American, when you learn she has a Caribbean heritage, we know she's probably being a bit facetious with her motives for being with the white man. But either way, that doesn't make what she's saying regarding Umar Johnson any less true. He is racist. We've had civil rights progress that he's trying to undermine with his racist rhetoric.
People tend to marry their IQ, which is interesting. You think like if you see two Black people together, oh, it's because they are two Black people, but actually they are probably better matched based on their IQ. I fell in love with my husband just because I think he is one of the most brilliant people ever. I love him very much. The stuff that we talk about, I'm like, there is no other person that I could have married. We have 3 beautiful children who are growing up in an environment that I am just so happy that I was able to, what every parent wants, to give your children better than you had, and that's all I can say. I'm just the luckiest person in the entire world.
How is he going to feel about you not finding him attractive and just liking him for his mind?
What do
Oh
you,
my God. What?
he got the smear already ready for the journalists that are listening. Candace says her husband is not. It was a bonus that I also think that he's beautiful and gorgeous and handsome, but it really was about his mind, his ability to just dive into any subject and comprehend it, just any subject. I mean, whether you're talking about mathematics, economics, politics, he could read a book on chemistry, read a book on.
I don't know. Somebody asked me why I married a woman. I think I would say something other than she's a good reader. She grasps concepts with ease. I mean, this doesn't sound very lovey-dovey if you ask me, but I digress.
Building houses, and he just comprehends the concept very quickly. So I know I married the right person, and I want every person to never allow race to be a barrier to you finding love. That is so foolish. That will stop you. And by the way, there's this. There has been so much toxicity, particularly in Black relationships, because of the media portraying Black men as this or Black women as this, and we just have to stop doing that.
Yeah. Have you ever dated Black men before?
Yeah. I dated Black men, which is another thing that I always find really funny because the media tries to portray me as someone who only liked white guys.
I wonder if he know that I know he's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up. That's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice. That's your girl? Golly. Okay, I see you. But I just want to know one thing. You ready? Why the fuck you lying?
Honest, I started off on a really strong Asian kick in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was going to marry an Asian man.
What's fine?
I did. My first boyfriend was Japanese. My second boyfriend was Korean. I just really loved Asian men.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Y'all already know when the Prince of Potato Salad, when the #1 scamming orator gets a hold of this, Umar is going to have something to say. Let's see what Umar's response to this is.
It was weird.
That's right.
Yeah.
I believe Candace Owens is a paid Negropean. One thing you have to understand about the white power structure when you're talking about Candace Owens and Jesse Lee Peterson's. Okay, one thing you have to understand, the white power structure, through the government or through the corporate structure, they find influential Negroes and they buy them out in order to change the level of consciousness in Black America. Candace Owens was sponsored by the white power structure so she could begin to die.
Hey DJ, if Candace is a paid Negropean or Negropean, whatever the fuck, if that is true of Candace, then Umar Johnson is a paid and protected pan scammer. Didn't that Sudanese or Somali tether girl who did the GoFundMe scam for $40,000, didn't she get charged and arrested? Hasn't Umar scammed our community since 2009 out of millions of dollars? Been investigated by the Psychology Board, GoFundMe suspended his account, the state of Pennsylvania said he can't raise funds over there anymore, banned from live streaming on social media, banned from YouTube. But no charges, no one's really going after him for the fraud. I mean, he literally bought some abandoned buildings around the corner from a prison near the projects that he uses as a Pan-African studio of sorts to solicit more donations. If Candace Owens is a paid Negopian or Negro, whatever the fuck you said, Umar Johnson is a paid Pan scammer.
Loot the black first narrative. Candace Owens and Jesse Lee Peterson, these kind of Negroes, these types of Negroes are found and funded. They are found and funded in order to distract from the narrative. See, you have to understand something. Intellectual confusion is the enemy of mass organization, bro.
And that is something he's saying that is true. Because just like Christopher says, this is a perfect example of how both confuse the people, because both clips they are speaking some truth while both undermining FBA. He's right to a degree. But listen, he doesn't understand that while he exposes this quote unquote agenda with Candace, he exposes himself.
Intellectual confusion is the enemy.
Intellectual confusion is the enemy of what?
Of mass organization.
Of mass organization. Man, Lord, I've been blowing the whistle as of late about our true indigenous hidden history, about how they lied and told us we from Africa, how they lied and said our ancestors came on a slave ship, how they've lied, how they lied, how they lied. What did Umar Johnson just say?
Intellectual confusion is the enemy of mass organization.
What does Umar Johnson do? He keeps us intellectually confused. We're waking up. We're honoring our indigenous roots. Here comes this Negro talking about, no, we from Africa. No, we need to be one with Africans. We need to move back to Africa. We need to go start a business in Africa. We need to pay him $6,000 to take a tour to Africa. He is an agent of chaos, confusion. Intellectual confusion stifles organization, that stifles progress. Agent provocateurs keep you in a state of stasis. Jesse Jackson made us believe we were African American. Umar Johnson is the latest rendition of a Jesse Jackson-like controlled opposition. And while he calls out Candace Owens, he's also exposing himself.
Brother Robert, intellectual confusion is the enemy of mass organization. So what they love to do, they see me out here, right? So they say, okay, let's look at the black intellectual landscape. So they set back and they say, okay, we have to continue to control the narrative. Social network is making it difficult for us to control the narrative for Black America. Because you have people like Dr. Umar Ifatunde, who's the leading Black radical scholar in the world for African people. We have Dr. Umar Ifatunde, who's the leading Black radical scholar, period, in the African diaspora. And then underneath him, you have all of these copycats.
Listen to how he has to give himself these fraudulent ass titles. He's the leading Black radical scholar. Sir, that's a made up category. Hey guys, did you know that Mike TV is the #1 consumer of marijuana half an hour before he goes live? Did you know he's the #1 Chief Keef Infatunde, #1 stoner out? Like, sir, you're just making up titles. Like that's not a flex, sir. You're the #1 radical Pan-Africanist. Sir, the conscious community is filled with pedos and scammers. The fact that you always claim to be the king of the conscious community, that's not a flex.
Who take his content and repeat it. So he has a whole movement. The intellectual insurrection that Dr. Umar is leading. They say, okay, we have to take away from Dr. Umar's power in the social media sector because he's getting too many views. And Black people are tuning into Dr. Umar as much as they tune into CNN.
Yeah, guys, what's happening is Umar Johnson is like modern day Fred Hampton mixed with MLK, mixed with Malcolm, mixed with he's a Pan-African. So mixed with Hannibal. He's just the best of the best. And the white power structure realized that the Black community was having institutions built, guys. Umar Johnson was going around the country building schools, and Umar Johnson is educating the Black American community, and he's organizing us, and we're marching, and we're protesting, and we're doing sit-ins, and we're doing boycotts, all under the leadership of Umar Johnson. So because of that impact Umar has on us, because of that influence, they have to pay Candace Owens to try to stifle that. Sir, you ain't doing shit for our community. You ain't doing nothing. You're scamming for cash apps. You're scamming for cash apps. Lord, oh Lord.
Cash apps. Any more cash apps?
Black people are tuning into Dr. Umar as much as they tune into a Roland Martin. And Roland Martin is not as bad as a Candace Owens or a Jesse Lee Peterson, but Roland Martin is another example of a found and financed Negro. So Roland Martin doesn't push the Republican agenda, he pushes the Democrat agenda. Roland Martin doesn't push the Republican agenda. Roland Martin pushes the Democrat agenda. But whether it's Candace Owens on the Republican side or Roland Martin on the Democrat side, both sides are anti-Black independence.
Come on, y'all. Come on. He's so butthurt because Candace said, hey, that's racist that you say Black people shouldn't date white people. I mean, guys, it goes deeper than that. It goes deeper. I know some of you guys are aware, but I've got new subscribers every day, so some of you guys may not know. Put a 1 in the chat if you don't know. I pulled up on Umar Johnson. I wouldn't necessarily say we had a debate. I'd say we had a discussion. I'd say I severely exposed him beyond repair in that brief discussion. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's not just he doesn't think that Black folks shouldn't date white people. He thinks that if we do that, we're coons by default. He thinks that there's no way that we can not be a coon and date white people. Yet his claim to fame was lying about being a direct descendant of who?
And so we paid respects earlier to the Honorable Frederick Douglass, my direct ancestor, and his own.
So he's dick riding Frederick Douglass to make a name for himself. Frederick Douglass had a white wife, though. So just like scammers do, they have to use bits of information, not information that's relevant, but information that promotes the narrative. So, when I saw that he was live and I saw that he was talking about the state of Black relationships, and I heard that he was talking some racist, xenophobic shit about Black people shouldn't date white people because we can't be positive members of the Black community while dating white. Meanwhile, this motherfucker got 2 baby mamas and 3 wives. Yeah, you heard that right. He's gossiping about relationships instead of building the school that he's already been given over $3 million to build, a school he's been raising money for since 2009. Instead, he's gossiping about relationships. Yeah, so when I saw that, I said, hold up, I gotta pull up on this bitch boy. I gotta challenge his rhetoric. I've got to give him at least a little piece of my mind. So let's take a look at how deep the racism runs with Umar Johnson. And Umar's not gonna like me because I believe that you can date who you want to date, just don't be a coon. And we regard Frederick Douglass with high esteem, and he married a white woman at the end of the day. So I look at a man's actions more so than who he dates.
I want to clarify the Frederick Douglass piece. You're absolutely right. About a decade before his death as an old man, he married a white woman. But let's not forget about Queen Mother Anna Murray Douglass, who he was married to for nearly 50 years, who gave birth to all 5 of his children, who helped him escape from slavery to freedom, and who ran the Underground Railroad in Rochester, New York during his absence. I'm only bringing that up because we talk about the white woman so much that a lot of our children don't know. Frederick Douglass had a dark skin.
This motherfucker is deflecting like a bitch made nigga. I said, hey, Frederick Douglass, he married a white woman. Well, you see, he did marry a white woman, but we got to remember he married a black woman first, and he was with a black woman, and she was such a good black woman. And remember, he married a black woman first. What are you talking about? So it's cool to marry a white woman if we marry a black woman first and then leave her? What is he talking about? Deflecting in its finest.
About a decade before his death as an old man, he married a white woman. But let's not forget about Queen Mother Anna Murray Douglas, who he was married to for nearly 50 years, who gave birth to all 5 of his children, who helped him escape from slavery to freedom, and who ran the Underground Railroad in Rochester, New York during his absence. I'm only bringing that up because we talk about the white woman so much that a lot of our children don't know. Frederick Douglass had a dark-skinned, chocolate, beautiful, nappy-headed wife. So I want to make sure Anna Murray Douglass gets her due. Now, to your question.
Why is she gotta be nappy headed for, y'all? Like, why did he have to throw in that she was nappy headed? I'm just like bombastic side eye right there. Like, all right, nappy headed, huh?
To your point that we can marry who we want and not be a coon. How is not building a family with a black woman? How can you be exempt from cooning?
What did he just said? What did this man just say? How can you be exempt from cooning if you're marrying a white woman? Sir, did you just inadvertently call Frederick Douglass a coon? You're basically saying it's impossible to not be a coon and marry a white woman. Sir, Frederick Douglass married a white woman. So I got this man so pressed. I got him so bent out of shape. I was the only one to call in and challenge his rhetoric. And he's calling Frederick Douglass a coon right now. Y'all peep game. He said, how is it possible to marry a white woman and not be a coon? Frederick is rolling in his grave.
Your question, to your point that we can marry who we want and not be a coon. How is not building a family with a black woman? How can you be exempt from cooning if you do not build family with black woman?
So by your own rhetoric, it's okay if we marry a white woman as long as we marry a black woman first.
No, you should not be marrying a white woman at all. If the salvation of the African people rests on the shoulders of the African family, do we not have an obligation to be with our own women?
Why are we taking marriage advice from a 2-time baby daddy and pseudo husband of 3? I ask you. Interesting. And I believe
And
that you
what about the wealth
exclusively date
argument?
sisters, right?
Yes. And what about
And I slid in there and I understand that you exclusively date sisters, right? Why is it so important for me to confirm whether or not he solely dates sisters? You'll see in just a moment, but I got his confirmation.
the wealth argument? Women on average outlive their husbands. So when we transition, if we married a snow bunny, is she going to use any of your wealth to empower the black community after you're gone? How are you not a sellout if you're giving white people that type of wealth?
How are you not a sellout if you are giving white people that type of wealth? Sir, so far in this conversation, you don't realize it because you're a bit mentally challenged, but so far Mike TV got you so bent out of shape. You have called the Honorable Frederick Douglass a coon and a sellout, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it, but right here in 4K, he's called Frederick Douglass a coon and a sellout. Make it make sense, y'all.
This is wealth that we need to empower the black community and build institutions. How are you not a sellout if you're giving white people that type of wealth when they've already stolen enough from us? How could you find a white woman who could ever understand?
Hey, he's talking about how we need all this wealth to build institutions. Nigga, we already gave you 3 milli and you ain't built the school yet. Why are you preaching about we need wealth to stay in our community to build institutions when you ain't building nothing? FDMG permanently under construction. It's family. It's coming, family. It's coming. When we pushing, we pushing. Okay.
Understand you as well as a sister.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why I mentioned people's actions is because you yourself exclusively date black. yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you still haven't.
Why you do me like that? Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man. Oh
we was going good till Michael went a little.
Damn, them tethers kicked me off the stage fast. They kicked me off fast. He looked over to them and said, "Get this nigga up out of here. He talking about my scams." It's whole Mike. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Mike's going a little left, y'all. Mike's going a little. See how I crept that up in there? You talking about a man's actions and who he marries. You exclusively date black, and you the biggest leech. You the biggest scammer. You the biggest sellout,
They've
Umar.
already stolen enough from us. How could you find a white woman who could ever understand you as well as a sister?
Yeah. Well, the only reason why I mentioned people's actions is because you yourself exclusively date black, yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you still haven't.
Why you do me like that? Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man. Oh
We was going good till Michael.
Oh man, Mike, oh man, Mike, we was doing going good until you went a little left, Mike. Oh man, Mike, him, man, Mike. Oh, listen to them three tethers up there babbling, y'all. Them tethers up there babbling. Oh, my, whoa, nervous laughter. Oh, get them out of here.
Is because you yourself exclusively date black, yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you still haven't.
Why you do me like that? Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man. Oh
we was going good till Michael went a little left. Michael went a little left.
I thought the brother was a good brother.
Yeah, and you know,
Come on, y'all. Body language speaks volumes. Your reaction to being called a scammer to your face speaks volumes. Let's peep game, y'all, and let's dissect what we just witnessed. As soon as I call this man a scammer, as soon as I reference it's been 12 years and still no school, this man immediately looks to the host. He immediately looks to the host, then starts nervous laughter as if to tell the host, hey, you got to drop him down right now. And then he starts rubbing his thigh in a very nervous manner, trying to, I thought you was a good brother, Mike. I thought you was such a good brother. Mike, why you got to do me like that, Mike? Why you got to do me like that, Mike? You mean your bitch ass can gossip about who's dating who for hours on end, but as soon as somebody mentions you scamming with that school long con, oh, it's get him over. Oh, I thought you was a good brother. Oh Lord! As soon as the school scam is mentioned, it's why you gotta do me like that, Mike. It's hold on, guys. What do us tethers say? To the left. Oh, this nigga exposing me. To the left.
To the left. To the left. To the left. To the left. Everything you own in a box to the left. In the closet, that's my stuff. Yes, if I bought it, say, don't touch. Don't touch. Keep carrying that mess, that's fine. Could you walk and talk at the same time? And it is my name that is on that mix. So remove your bag so I can call you a kid. I'm standing in the yard, and he's telling me how I'm such a fool. He's talking about.
I'm up here on the podcast trying to talk about not dating white woman, and this man he's saying I'm such a scammer. Oh Lord, he must be twisted.
I will never ever find a bra like him. Yo, I'm lekker op zijn kop gevallen. You must not know about me. You must not know about me. I can never know you in a manner. In a manner. In a manner.
Come on. Y'all know about Mike TV. Y'all know about Mike TV. I'll call a scammer out in a minute.
You must not know about me. You must not know about me. I can never know you by tomorrow. Don't you ever for a second get a thinking you're irreplaceable. So go ahead and get gone. Pull up.
Oh Lord, let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into it. I had Umar real pressed. We exposed him, y'all. We exposed him.
I
brother. I thought you was a good brother, Mike. Why you do me like that, Mike? Why?
Well, the only reason why I mention people's actions is because you yourself exclusively date black, yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you still have.
We gotta let him go.
Why you do me like that?
Man,
Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man. Oh
we
man.
was going good until Michael went a little left.
Mike,
Michael went a little left.
Body language speaks volumes. Peep game.
Yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you still have.
we gotta let him go.
Why you do me like that?
Man,
Why you do me like that, bro? Oh man.
Yet you're one of the biggest scammers in our community. It's been 12 years and you.
Why you do me like that? Why you do me like that, bro?
Oh boy, and if you appreciate me pulling up on these scammers all 2024, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, go ahead and put 5 on it. This is a crowdfunded operation after all. Who knows? Who knows? Thanks to your contributions, I might do a live stream from the FDMG Academy, y'all. I might just get real petty with it. Who knows? But this is the last chance to click the link and call in. We've got New Era coming from the back to the front. New Era, where are you calling in from, and what do you think about the topic at hand?
Salute, brother. I'm coming in way up South Carolina. Shit crazy. Scammers on scams and tethers on tethers. You can't make this shit up.
Scammers talking about
You didn't-
tethers and tethers talking about scammers.
Facts. We had a whole lot of motherfuckers in the chat talking a whole bunch of shit. I wonder why none of the motherfuckers ain't calling yet.
You already know the reason why. They
Yeah,
like
I
to
know.
keep it in.
Nigga, don't act like us. That's why I don't got love for.
Should pull up on me anytime. I post the link, okay? I post the link. And
Yeah,
then somebody put 5 on it. I'm still demonetized, y'all. I got one more month until I can not apologize, but reapply for monetization. So Lord, these Cash Apps and PayPals been helping keep the lights on, y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Right. Yeah, you to go on with the show, bro. I just be in the back listening. Oh yeah, I did call in to tell you is number 2 though, nigga. I'm number 1 when it comes to Chief, nigga.
Hey, all right. You can have that title. You can have it.
I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit,
so
this
you-
motherfucker chat. But go
All
ahead
right,
with the
brother.
show,
I'll
bro.
talk to you soon, brother. I'll talk to you soon. We got Idris calling from the back to the front. What's good, Idris?
Yeah, how are you, Mike? You okay?
Doing well. Can't complain. Let the folks know where you calling in from and what do you think about the topic at hand.
I'm calling in from the United Kingdom of Great Britain, and basically, I'd really like you to pull up to Candace Owens and Jesse Lee Peterson and Larry Elder if you could, because these people are really sick. Oh, and don't forget, was that other guy called Jesse Lee Peterson? I mean, these people are just unbelievably sick. They're a cancer.
I agree with you. If they make themselves accessible, if I see their neck sticking out just far enough, I'm gonna get them. Oh Lord, I'm gonna get them.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, obviously, this, like I said before, the reason why Dr. Umar Johnson, or should I say Jermaine Shoemake's, schemes are really like somewhat successful is because he's a sweet talker, and as a result of that, people will hand over their money to him. I mean, I used to be quite a fan of Dr. Umar Johnson, but then once he started going left and then he started taking all money for the school he didn't produce, that of course was extremely problematic. Now, I think it's high time that Dr. Umar Johnson throws in the towel and then just pays back, refunds everybody that ever financed and bankrolled the school. That's what he's got to do now.
Hey, I'm gonna stay on his neck until he has charges brought up against him.
Yeah, because basically, at the end of the day, the community can't, people in the community can't afford to just give out money freely like that and not get any services in return.
Hey, let him tell it. If we marry or date white people, we're messing up black wealth. Meanwhile, he's extracted millions from our community and still hasn't produced a school in what, 12, 13, 14 years? How long has it been?
I
Come on.
mean, was it since 2010?
2009, really. 2009 is when he first started crowdfunding for it. Yeah.
So it's been 15 years and there's nothing. And we're not any closer to the school anyway, isn't it?
Not any closer to the school, no. But he has been able to sniff up a lot of the money, and the money that didn't go up his nose, shit, he gambled the rest, allegedly.
Credits, hit the cash app. We got to get money by any means necessary. Frederick Douglass High School renovations coming right up.
Yeah. But Idris, thanks for calling in. We're gonna go ahead and bring up our next guest. Coming from the back to the front is Curtis. Curtis, where are you calling in from, and what do you think about the topic at hand?
What's up, Mike? It's Curtis calling in from Louisville.
What's up? What's up? Let us know. What do you think? Can black people be racist?
Can black people be racist? Of course, black people can be racist. Any race can be racist. It's all about whether you want to get along with a certain race or not. And then some people go through certain stuff with other races that I guess makes them become racist. But I kind of want to get on the Umar topic about his character. I think
They're
with
claiming I smoke crack.
Sorry
I
about
think
that.
no, you're fine. I think I actually think that he's kind of on drugs because he'll say one thing and then, like I said, we'll talk about. You'll see him in the video going to the casino with the donor's money, and then he'll ask for
Credits, hit the cash app. We got to get money by any means necessary. Frederick Douglass High School renovations coming right up.
right, and he'll ask for donations, and then be like, all right, thanks for the $10, make it 20 next time, even though I know you don't have it. And it's like he seems like the type that just he talks so much that he kind of talks himself into a corner, along with the
Thank you, Sister Avanti, $10 coming on the cash app. Thank you, sister. Next time, make it 20, but thank you for that 10. I know you barely had that. Thank you, sister.
And I think he follows the grifts. So he's been grifting with the school for so long. He doesn't know how to get out of the fact that he's not going to be able to open up a school. He knows it's not going to happen. It's obvious, but he doesn't. He didn't boast it himself. How many years was he talking about he's going to open a school? By the way,
Since '09.
yeah. So how many years is 24? So what is that like?
That's 15 years.
15. Yeah, right. So it's 15 years of him just being lying and not really providing anything other than like a abandoned school that he probably broke into.
But actually, you're right. I think he knows he's never going to finish it. He was on, I think it was during his Little Yachty collaboration. I did a stream on it. He started changing his tone. He started in the interview. He started talking about, even if I don't build the school, even if the school never comes,
right?
Even if I don't build the school, I'm still the best in my works for the community, and I still save so many black boys. So he's already trying to put out into the zeitgeist, even if the school doesn't happen, we should still honor him and revere him. So yeah, I think he knows the jig is up.
Right. It's just like in the pivot, it's like just come out with it. Hey, I got in over my head. I cannot do this on my own. Like I'm just gonna pull out from the school and work on helping kids out in the community and just going on speeches. All he has to do is really just speak at fraternity, not fraternities, but colleges and just radio stations like he's been doing and just get his money like that. Like I don't understand the whole school grift. I guess that was just his way to try to get the community to follow him in the very beginning, and he wrote it for too long instead of just being like, look, I'm not going to be able to achieve this. He already had the people with his speeches and the way he talks. He already had the people engaged. He didn't need to actually go with the school. It was totally irrelevant. And I
Yep,
think it's the same
exactly.
thing with Candace Owens too. It's just like this pivoting back and forth, and you want. I don't. For one, I don't. The Ben Shapiro thing is just. I think she just got to the point where she just got tired of kissing this dude's ass. He just seems like an asshole. Like I've seen his interviews, and he
Oh
just
yeah,
seems like a
most
prick.
definitely. He seems
Yeah,
unsufferable. Yeah,
yeah. Could you
yeah.
imagine working for this guy? So she's pretty much like, yeah, I'm gonna speak my mind, and I'm sick of because the whole narrative is the J narrative now. So
Mhm.
that's the new narrative. That's the new kind of the focus point with the war and everything else that's going on. So everybody's just kind of picking a side. And now the people that support her or more conservative types, they're the ones running with that narrative now. So now it's putting her at odds with him. See what I'm saying? And
Yep.
she's gonna go with the Trump crowd because she's really been endorsing Trump anyways. Dave Chappelle was just another white guy that she just found the way to cozy up under. So she'll just find a way to cozy up under somebody else. But I don't think she's gonna go officially pro-black. I see her going to like Fox News or something, and just hanging on with that. I think she just because I've seen her talk about the Breakfast Club and going on Joe Budden's podcast, and she was talking about how like she would go on the Breakfast Club, but they wouldn't invite her. And I think the Breakfast Club got wind of the interview, and then that's why they invited her on there. But she was already always talking about going on the Breakfast Club. She's talking about how they wouldn't have her as a guest. So
Hey, it was preordained. All of a sudden, she said, I need to
yeah,
get
it looks
some
funny.
black followers now. I need to get some black followers. Let me get in touch with the black media and start doing all these interviews with black folks. And I'm blackity black now.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green, leather sofa.
A limousine with a chauffeur. That's where I'm at right now. That song really does still slap, you guys. Why am I playing it? Because, well, I told you, I am having the blackest week ever. And in that song, he talks about his mom, loves to show him off, smiles every time my face is up in the source. Well, guess what, guys? My face is up in the source. Check out these headlines. I've been just really trying to get into black media and have them say something nice about me, and it happens.
She's been trying to get into black media. She's been trying to get them to say something nice. And it's happened.
This first from the source. Candace Owens on Beyonce's country music. She's more country than Taylor Swift ever was. Next headline over here in Vibe. Candace Owens defends Beyonce. Says she's more country than Taylor Swift.
Look at how the pivot. Look at how the new grift comes in. Let me see. They all love that one girl, Beyonce. The beehive, right? All of them are beehivers. Yeah, they're all bees in the bee. Yeah. Beyonce is really good at country, guys. Beyonce's the best at country music. She's better than Taylor Swift. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on. Obvious grift, y'all. Obvious grift. Then she goes on Joe Budden and she's talking about a hip hop to prison pipeline. Then she goes on the Breakfast Club and she's talking about how hip hop music has been tearing down our community and we need to fight against the all this we. Okay. All right.
Well, I think when you work for somebody else, you're gonna have to toe the line. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's just like what you're talking about when you get around other white people on a job. You're not going to talk about white people in front of white people. So I think with her getting paid by Shapiro, she has to toe that line. That's why when you look into her rapping that rap song, Biggie's rap song, it's cringeworthy because she's got to like try to. She can't be too black, but she can't be too white. You know what I'm saying? She has to try to play that game, and it looks awkward. So this is
She
what
has
happens
to
when
still make a caricature out of it.
there you go. So that's why I said it's best for just black people in general, just to get your own form of employment. Like with me, that's what I'm working on, but I still have to go out here and work. So I got to toe the line too as well. But I
Yep.
just keep to myself and I don't really get into any big speeches. I don't even talk politics or anything at the workplace. I barely talk at all. Just being a black man in the workplace, all the stuff that you have to go through. So with Candace, I already know where she's coming from with it. You can't working under white people. They're not going to let you just be a nigga on a job. You cannot be yourself on these jobs. These corporations working under white people. Period. White people can't even be themselves. So I think that she needs to. It would
and
be
this is
best for
something
her
Cheddar's
just to go.
doing the hard way. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it'd be best for her just to go independent. I think she's bigger than the Daily Wire. I didn't even know about the Daily Wire. I knew about Candace Owens. Nobody watches the Daily Wire unless it's to
Facts.
watch Candace. Nobody watches that shit. So she's bigger than the actual show is, anyways, at this point. And I think she knows that. That's why she was kind of going at him because she was just like, all right, this is a perfect point for me to go at him. I've been talking about the Jays. Then I go at the
But at the
head
same
dude.
time, if he never called her out for it, and this never happened, I think she would still be with the Daily Wire to this day. Of course, us being foundational Black Americans, us having a spirit of sovereignty and entrepreneurship, we're like, hey, if you already got your own following, why not have your own? Like, it's not that hard.
Right.
But these tethers, they like the white power structure. She really likes getting that Daily Wire check every 2 weeks. So it's kind of a fearful thing for them to go out and venture on their own and be responsible for basically being their own boss, for being their own man or woman. I mean, they'd rather have a handout. So, I think that this situation forced her to go independent. And now that she's independent, we're seeing a whole lot of grifting and a whole lot of pandering. She gives me Hillary Clinton hot sauce in the purse vibes.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, as long as she's gonna make black talking points, you'll never be pro-black married to a white man. It's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Not for her. The black community is not
Oh,
going
wait.
to.
And Deadpool wants to know if you heard her sentiments towards George Floyd.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so she was the main number one person when George Floyd died, when everybody was writing. She was talking about, no, he deserved to die. He was a criminal. He had fentanyl in his system. She literally read his, oh my God, I can probably find the video. She
Yeah, I was
literally
going to ask you that. Yeah.
read his rap sheet on air. Like, hold on. So the fact that she wants to just sweep this under the rug and now cozy up to black people when she disrespected the shit out of our community. And honestly, I like to be contrarian too. Before ever seeing the George Floyd video, when I saw everybody is rioting and protesting, I wasn't against it, but I was kind of like, okay, like, well, we're rioting, another martyr. Like, what's going on here? But as soon as I saw the video, I was like, oh, this is fucked. Whoa, wait, I'm watching the video and he's already handcuffed in the back of the cop car. So I'm like, wait a minute, I thought he gets choked out. He dies. So after he's already handcuffed in the back, they take him out and then choke him out. And then I'm like, whoa, this is fucked up. But hear what her reaction was.
People still do not know what happened on the day that George Floyd died. They've never even seen any video outside of the 9-minute video that was played over and over and over again on loop. And they purposefully held back releasing.
They didn't see any of the video other than the 9-minute video that was played on a loop.
The police cam, which would have cleared up so many of the lies.
And it's amazing the emotional power of the narrative as opposed to the truth, the story they tell. Joe Biden, a man who's been in government since the 1970s, got on television and said, we are an inherently racist society, an inherently racist government. He basically talked about this trial as if it were difficult to get a conviction of a police officer who has killed a person, which just isn't true. It just isn't true. If you have the testimony, if you have the evidence, you can convict a police officer in this country. He was talking as if it were 40 years ago. People were weeping in the streets when this verdict came in, as if it were not a done deal, as if it wasn't the Derek Chauvin who was the guy under pressure. It's amazing how completely.
This is what she was, a white supremacist bootlick, the token quote unquote black that lets the white folks feel better about it. But the part I really want to get into, it was this one. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was this one.
Hello and welcome. And we can just get right into this because you know what we are going to cover today. We obviously have to cover the George Floyd trial conclusion, which is that Derek Chauvin is guilty on all counts. And I have to appreciate people that were trying to create a pressure campaign for me on Twitter saying, I wonder what Candace is going to say. Even Republicans agreed that this was the right call. I don't care who agrees that this was the right. I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a Democrat. I don't care if it's a.
She's speaking against Derek Chauvin being found guilty 2 years ago, but we're supposed to just forget about this shit.
A white person. I don't care if it's a black person. I am not so much of an intellectual coward that because the mob decides something, because the lie about George Floyd and the way that he lived his life has become so big that we just have to now accept it as the truth. And believe me, this is a lie. Nancy Pelosi yesterday said, quote, thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. She also said, quote, that his name will always be synonymous with justice. George Floyd's name will always be synonymous with justice. You have got to be kidding me. And don't tell me it doesn't matter. It does matter. This is the most important part, that he is now becoming synonymous with justice. Let me remind you guys, I've done it.
Guys, she wants us to forget about this. Now she wants to come to the cookout. Now that the white media kicked her to the side and she's off the Daily Wire. Now she's like, hey guys, cornbread is what you like, right? I brought some cornbread.
Before, right? When the media was spinning all the lies, when the media first came out and they said, oh, George Floyd was just getting his life together. He moved to Minnesota. He got released from prison in 2014. He was just getting his life together. You remember that? Do you guys remember that media depiction of St. George, who was just doing things for kids and just loved the kids and really was trying to set a good example and was just getting his life together? Until I reminded people of what his actual record was, because it became apparent to me that there was a reason that they were not producing the police footage, because they wanted to make sure that the lie was perpetuated around the world and repeated over and over again before the truth could get up from bed and put its shoes on. And here is the truth. Here is the person whose life and whose name.
Damn, dragging a dead man, y'all. She dragging a dead FBA brother, but she wants us to believe she's of the culture now. She carries hot sauce in her purse, and she loves Beyonce, and you know she listens to Biggie Smalls now. That Biggie Smalls, it really slaps, guys.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa.
A limousine with a chauffeur. That's where I'm at right now. That song really does still slap. Is now synonymous with justice, Nancy Pelosi. George Floyd has a rap sheet, and I'm going to remind you guys of it again today. He was arrested for delivery of a controlled substance. He was arrested and put into jail. He was arrested for theft. He was arrested for theft again. He spent 10 months and 10 days in jail. He was arrested for failure to identify. He spent 15 days in jail. He was again arrested for possession of a controlled substance, less than 1 gram of cocaine. He was then arrested for trespassing, no forcible entry. He was arrested for delivery of a controlled substance. He was arrested for possession with intent to manufacture or distribute.
So I guess this means he deserved to be murdered publicly.
Right.
All right, yeah, Curtis. Since you weren't familiar with her rhetoric towards George Floyd, but now today I've shined light on how she's pandering to the Black community. Do you see how much of a this is just like that amazing Lucas dude I've been exposing, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying, Mike. Don't you see the pattern that's going on in these YouTube streets or just these podcaster streets? It's like she sounds exactly like Charleston White to me. Remember when the George Floyd thing and Charleston White was coming out, he was talking crazy and just saying the most outrageous shit. And
Because
now,
yeah,
he's just getting your attention. And now it's like he'll just say one thing and pivot to the next. I think a lot of these podcasters are doing it because a lot of these podcasters, the big ones, the extremely big ones, like I'll be in their rooms and I listen to them and the calls that they take, and even I'm getting side-eyed. And like Mike, you woke me up to a lot of these grifters, like the amazing Lucas, what's that other guy's name with the black dude with the beard that you got into?
Hanson Daniels.
Yeah, Hanson Daniels. Yeah, and these are people that I was listening to them, and I was like, something just kind of isn't clicking. And then I would click on your video, and then I would see who it would make sense after I watched your video. It's like, oh, okay, that's why they act like this, or it's why they're overcompensating. So I think it's just when it comes to just the regular people, when it comes to these podcasters, you just gotta take their word with a grain of salt. It's just like you just take the good parts out of it that sounds good, and then everything else you just kind of dismiss. But if your character is whack and you've done work outside of talking, if you've done stuff that outside of your character that I don't agree with, like Umar scamming about the school and taking donations that he clearly doesn't need and using it to go gamble and smoke crack or whatever he's doing, it's just totally outrageous. And then for that, he should be locked up for it. But just talking shit and flip flopping, I expect these people to, go with the wind, follow the wind. Whoever's winning, whoever it's sounding good, even with the pro-black movement. If you've noticed, you got a lot of these politicians starting to interview these pro-black podcasters now.
Oh, and you know what? I just looked at the time. We are running out of time. I try to keep these just shy under an hour for the algorithm. But I am dropping a StreamYard link on the next stream. Don't go anywhere, guys. As soon as this stream ends, there's going to be a 10-second countdown, and then we're going into another stream about Umar Johnson. Believe it or not, Umar Johnson finally admits that we are Native Americans, that we don't all come from Africa. The sky is falling. The Prince of Potato Salad says we are Native. Guys, I'll see you on the next stream.
Real quick,
Don't
Mike.
go
Real
anywhere.
quick.